In the shadows of history's grand narratives lie tales both profound and stirring, stories of bravery that slip through the cracks of the great, blazing accounts we've been taught. You may think you know about World War II, the epic battles, the iconic figures, but what happens when the spotlight fades on the well-known heroes? What of those who fought behind the scenes, who risked it all without any recognition or fanfare? As we delve into the forgotten stories of World War II heroes, prepare for an emotional journey that is as enlightening as it is heart-wrenching. You might be wondering, who are these heroes? What incredible feats did they achieve, and why have they been buried in the sands of time? By continuing to watch, you'll uncover the remarkable and often unacknowledged contributions of ordinary people who defied the odds, displayed unwavering courage, and changed the course of history. Their astonishing tales of resilience beckon to be heard, igniting a sense of admiration and a spark of curiosity that will certainly stay with you long after the credits roll. One such hero was Nancy Wake, a woman whose very name strikes a chord in the hearts of those who still remember her. Known as the White Mouse by the Gestapo, Wake played a crucial role in the French resistance. You might think her story is just another tale of wartime bravery, and yet, it unfolds like a gripping novel. Operating in occupied France, Wake aided in the smuggling of Allied soldiers and provided a lifeline for those on the run. Imagine this, a petite woman, just over 5 feet tall, carrying hidden messages and guiding down pilots to safety, all while eluding a relentless enemy that valued her capture above many others. Her remarkable cunning allowed her to escape capture time and again, but it also came at a steep price, time spent in hiding and the constant fear of betrayal. But here's something you didn't expect. Wake went on to become one of the most decorated women of the war, a testament to her heroism and bravery. Yet her legacy is often overlooked, overshadowed by more prominent figures. This begs the question, how many more like her remain in the shadows, their courage uncelebrated? As we ponder this, consider the multiple facets of heroism that war unveils. What makes a hero? Is it only the soldier on the battlefield, or can it also be the nurse in a makeshift hospital or the local butcher who supplied critical hidden information to resistors? Speaking of local heroes, let's turn our gaze to a name that's too often forgotten, Irena Sendler, a Polish social worker who, in the heart of the Nazi occupation of Poland, risked everything to save Jewish children from the horrors of the Holocaust. Picture this, in the midst of the Warsaw Ghetto, she forged documents, and with unparalleled cunning, she smuggled children out by hiding them in her bag. She wasn't merely saving lives, she was building a bridge of hope in an ocean of despair. Over the course of her efforts, Sendler managed to rescue approximately 2,500 children. Yet here's the catch, she was caught, tortured, and faced death, but even under the greatest pressure, she maintained her strength, refusing to reveal the names of those she saved. The weight of each name unleashed an unspeakable burden, and yet she bore it without falter. Can you imagine the profundity of her resolve? Although she was recognized posthumously and received various honors, how often did we learn about her in history class? The headlines may have favored the more dramatic tales of soldiers storming beaches, but Sendler's bravery resonates equally, if not more profoundly. Now let me pose a thought-provoking question. If these silent heroes operated in the shadows, how many more stories are lost in the echoes of history? Each tale waiting to be unearthed, much like a treasure chest buried deep beneath our collective ignorance, bursting with the potential to redefine our understanding of true heroism. There's also the poignant story of the Dubsky brothers, Ukrainian partisans who galvanized resistance against the Nazis in Eastern Europe. Their narrative, like many others, is steeped in danger and sacrifice. What's most fascinating about the Dubsky brothers is how they built not just a faction of armed resistance but also a social framework amid chaos. They forged partnerships with local communities, focusing on the ideals of liberation and democracy. It's easy to think of World War II as just a military venture filled with bravado, but the truth is much more nuanced. Their story underscores the significance of community and collaboration in the fight against oppression. While many focused on guns and grenades, the Dubsky brothers wielded camaraderie and hope like unbreakable swords, championing the idea that armed struggle could coexist with the spirit of collective upliftment. You may now be thinking, what drives these individuals? What fuels their passion? Many of us would shy away in fear during times of chaos, while they sprint headfirst into danger. Love, duty, loss, these are the potent forces that drive them. For men and women like the Dubsky brothers, the memory of fallen friends, the injustices around them, and an unwavering belief in a future free from tyranny pushed them through moments that would have broken lesser souls. And as we swirl deeper into the annals of the forgotten, we meet the unaided hands of the Filipino guerrillas. While mainstream narratives often spotlight the American and Japanese forces, these unsung brave souls played a pivotal role in the Pacific theater of World War II. Filipino fighters endured harrowing conditions, working not only against invaders but also within a web of treachery and deceit. Imagine being stripped of your rights, dignity, and freedom, yet finding the strength to rise and fight back not just for your independence but for the restoration of a nation's honor. Many guerrilla fighters, acting independently of formal military orders, orchestrated sabotage, gathered intelligence, and coordinated with Allied forces. The resilience of these individuals proves that heroism can spring from the most unexpected places, and their stories are but a fragment of a larger tapestry of resistance that prevails even in the face of overwhelming odds. But here's a twist you may not have anticipated: many of these heroes went unrecognized for decades after the war. Their contributions weren't celebrated in victory parades, nor were their names inscribed on grand monuments. Instead, they slipped into obscurity, their bravery remaining unrecorded. This sheds light on an unsettling reality: how many stories have the potential to shift our perspectives, redefine narratives, and move hearts, yet remain untold? As we glean stories from the undercurrents of history, let's journey to the heart of the British intelligence community, specifically, the story of Vera Atkins. A prolific figure mired in secrecy, Atkins coordinated the Special Operations Executive, SOE, during the war. Her role involved recruiting, training, and deploying agents behind enemy lines, a highly dangerous undertaking that blurred the lines between triumph and tragedy. Consider for a moment the immense pressure on a woman in a male-dominated environment, leading operations that could mean life or death for her compatriots. What truly astonishes is that after the war, Vera dedicated herself to uncovering the fates of her agents, many of whom had fallen into the hands of the enemy. She painstakingly traced their paths through peril, and her relentless pursuit of justice for those who vanished into the fold serves as a poignant reminder of her humanity in a time of immense chaos. You wouldn't expect the meticulous nature of her work to contribute to the war effort, yet it highlighted the profound impact of compassion even during the darkest days. Each story gently nudges us toward a crucial realization: wartime heroism knows no gender, nationality, or regiment. Heroes come in all forms, often disguised as ordinary people swept up in extraordinary circumstances. But wait, before we continue, let's pause for a moment to reflect. What defines our understanding of heroism today? Do we still hold the same reverence for these quieter acts of valor? As the narrative unfolds, consider how many unsung heroes continue to walk among us, their stories waiting for the right time and place for acknowledgement. Let's now shift our gaze to the African American heroes in World War II. While it is often overlooked in mainstream narratives about the war, many black servicemen and women rose against double oppression, fighting an external enemy while grappling with racism at home. One standout figure was Dory Miller, a mess attendant aboard the USS West Virginia during the attack on Pearl Harbor. When the bombs fell and chaos erupted, Miller acted instinctively. He jumped into action, manning anti-aircraft guns and firing back at the attackers, despite not having formal training. Consider for a second the extraordinary valor it takes to stand up in such a harrowing moment. Miller's bravery earned him the Navy Cross, making him one of the first African Americans awarded for valor in World War II. However, what's most remarkable is the aftermath of Miller's actions. His celebrity status served as a catalyst for change, igniting discussions around race and heroism within the military. Yet, despite his exemplary conduct, it wouldn't be long before he became just another footnote in the annals of history. The struggles he faced reveal the harsh truth about recognition, a truth that remains deeply relevant today. So what becomes of these stories? How do we elevate the voices of those who shone in the shadows? As we delve into these narratives, it becomes increasingly clear it's vital that we not just document these stories but actively seek them out, knitting together a more inclusive historical tapestry that honors every facet of bravery and sacrifice. Stay tuned as we continue in the next part, where the exploration of forgotten heroes will expand to include new figures and narratives that challenge the conventional wisdom surrounding World War II. Each of these stories is rich and nuanced. As we go along, we will build not just an understanding of heroism, but a fuller, more colorful picture of resilience that inspires and enlightens. What comes next will leave you speechless as we journey further into the lives of those individuals who define the course of history beyond the battlefield. As we transition into the next chapter of these hidden stories, let's explore the saga of the Tuskegee Airmen, a group of predominantly African-American pilots who courageously fought during World War II. At a time when segregation permeated American society, these skilled aviators faced not just the enemy in the sky but also the prejudices and obstacles of their home country. The 332nd Fighter Group and the 477th Bombardment Group carved their names into history through sheer excellence, flying countless missions with unmatched bravery. Imagine the mental fortitude it took for these men to ascend into the skies, knowing they would face not only enemy fire but also the daunting task of proving their capabilities in a society that sought to define their worth by the color of their skin. The Tuskegee Airmen not only engaged in aerial combat but also served as a beacon of hope and change, challenging the segregated military in their pursuit of equality. Their achievements were monumental. They flew over 15,000 sorties and were credited with shooting down around 260 enemy aircraft. Yet, their accomplishments came with an ironic twist. While soaring beyond the clouds, the ground beneath them remained thick with discrimination and misunderstanding. One emblem of their struggle was Lieutenant Charles B. Smith, who, despite being subjected to segregation within the military, emerged as a symbol of perseverance. He inspired not only his contemporaries but also future generations, showing that heroism transcends barriers and injustice. Unfortunately, in mainstream narratives, stories like that of Smith and the Tuskegee Airmen often take a back seat, overshadowed by more prominent military exploits. Yet, their legacy resonates as a powerful reminder of the struggle for civil rights, a struggle that continues to inspire and motivate today. Now let's zoom in on the remarkable tale of Sophie Scholl, a courageous young woman from Germany whose legacy is often overlooked. As a member of the White Rose Resistance Group, Scholl and her fellow students courageously spread anti-Nazi pamphlets at a time when dissent was punishable by death. Picture her sneaking through university hallways, hastily distributing pamphlets that condemned the regime for its atrocities and called for passive resistance, an act of defiance for which many would lose their lives. Scholl emerged as the voice of youthful resistance, embodying the idea that courage doesn't always require a gun or a campaign. Her resolution and commitment to truth cost her everything. Captured and tried by the People's Court, she faced her execution with tremendous courage, famously stating, "How can we expect righteousness to prevail when there is hardly anyone willing to give himself up individually to a righteous cause?" Her bravery echoed through history, symbolizing the moral imperative to stand against tyranny, no matter the cost. Transitioning to the Pacific Theater, let's recognize the bravery of the Navajo Code Talkers. These Native American servicemen developed an unbreakable code based on their sacred language, which played a crucial role in the U.S. military's communications during World War II. The Japanese forces decrypted many American codes, but the Navajo language, with its complex tonalities and algorithmic qualities, remained impenetrable and undecodable. Imagine the calm focus of these men, readying themselves to navigate the cacophony of a battlefield, knowing each transmission had the power to shift the tides of war. Their contributions were not only tactical, they held immense cultural significance, representing not just the people fighting for their nation, but also reclaiming their identity in a war that threatened to erase it. Yet, despite their incredible impact, they remained largely unrecognized for decades, overshadowed by other military heroes. Theirs is not just a story of wartime valor, it's a story of survival against erasure, a reminder of how even during crises, people can alter the narrative. The memory of the Code Talkers proves that true heroism lies not solely in acts of physical bravery but also in the ability to honor and sustain one's heritage amid tumultuous times. Furthermore, let's illuminate the story of Unsung, a young girl whose diary transcended the scope of mere historical record to become a poignant emblem of the human spirit's endurance. While she wasn't a soldier nor did she wield weapons against the enemy, Frank's vivid descriptions of life hiding from Nazi persecution encapsulated the emotional turmoil of a generation caught in the storm of war. Her narrative captures the innocence of youth while juxtaposing it against the harsh realities of hatred and oppression. As we unravel the threads of her life, it becomes clear that Frank exhibited extraordinary courage, not just in her circumstances but in her unwavering hope for a different world. Her diary serves as a testament to human resilience, prompting millions to reflect on the important lessons of tolerance, understanding, and empathy. Today, her legacy continues to educate and inspire an awareness of human rights, an impact that reaches far beyond the confines of the war itself. Turning our attention to another largely forgotten hero, let's delve into the remarkable efforts of the Scottish nurse Edith Cavell. Operating during World War I and lasting into the social consciousness of World War II, Cavell is remembered for her selflessness and extraordinary bravery in saving Allied soldiers, both under official guises and clandestine operations. While captured by German forces, she famously professed, "I can't stop bleeding. If I don't help them, they'll die." Her words exemplified her commitment to humanity over allegiance, even in the face of overwhelming danger and her impending execution. Cavell's legacy sparked profound reflections on the ethics of war, the responsibility to aid the wounded, and the importance of standing firm in one's conviction. Though her story stemmed from an earlier conflict, the powerful ideals surrounding her actions reverberated well into the narrative of World War II. Now, as we approach the end of our narrative journey, it's essential to reflect on the larger implications of these intertwined stories. Together, they form a rich tapestry of heroism that offers vital lessons for us today. They remind us that courage is not defined by fame, but by willingness. Heroism can emerge from the ordinary, revealing that anyone can resist injustice with their actions, regardless of their background. As we gather these threads into a cohesive understanding, consider how the act of remembering these heroes shapes our narratives. In a time where populism and polarization often politicize memory, we must be cautious not to sanitize or simplify history. Instead, we should embrace the complexities that come with lived experiences, recognizing that silhouettes of heroism stretch far beyond the conventional constructs of age, gender, or race. The stories we've unraveled serve as a clarion call, not just to remember those who stood against darkness, but to actively seek out their narratives, illuminating their struggles and victories. Every story unearthed adds vibrancy to our collective understanding, challenging us to redefine our perspectives on heroism and the qualities that inspire generations. Consequently, let's honor these unsung heroes by bringing their stories into the light where they rightfully belong. We owe it to those who sacrificed much, and even those who sacrificed everything, to ensure that they are never forgotten. Their legacies beckon to us from the shadows, whispering the timeless truth that true valor resides not just in grand gestures, but in the quiet acts of defiance that demand change. As we conclude this exploration, let us commit to recognizing the extraordinary in the ordinary, understanding that heroism often occurs where we least expect it, within the hearts of those willing to stand up against adversity. The hidden heroes of World War II and the stories we continue to uncover need our attention. They weave a narrative that inspires both introspection and action. What will your part be in this collective journey? How will you amplify the voices that have long been muted? The world still needs heroes, those who rise up to champion justice, equity, and empathy. In this modern landscape, let us be vigilant and ready to reshape the narrative, carrying these stories forward into the future, ensuring they are celebrated, remembered, and given the significance they deserve.